Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Lighting Your Sunshine, where we like to shine a light within and empower ourselves. So as I mentioned in a previous video, I cut my hand, so we're not going to be doing cards or anything like that today, but we are going to share the insights that I learned from when I cut my hand. Because if you're not learning, what's the purpose of everything, right? So Monday, I was making a sandwich. And unfortunately, with the bread knife, I just didn't stop in time. And I felt it. It was so deep and I just panicked. I don't know what happened. I don't have adrenaline run through my body often because fortunately, I have not gotten hurt often. And yeah. I'm running around, all of a sudden all my reason goes out of my head and I grab a paper towel and I'm just like running around, working up all this adrenaline. And so when I kind of went to look at it, the paper towel kind of ripped it open again. So I'm like, ah! So I was alone, so I called for help and they helped me through it. They're like, this is what you do. Because they've dealt with these situations multiple times. And after I finally got calm and settled, I asked my friend who does TCM, I said, what meridian did I just affect? And if, they also do things where they do bloodletting, which like lets heat out of the body when you have extra heat. And I was like, and then what kind of bloodletting would this help with? Right? Maybe there's a positive here. Maybe I cut myself just because there was a little bit too much excess heat and I needed healing. But I don't know that stuff. They do. So I asked her all these questions and she completely ignored them all, which I find so funny. But what she gave me instead was exactly what I needed to hear. Exactly the perfect words. And I'm going to read them to you. So she said, Chinese belief says a tiny bit of blood loss will void a bigger blood loss that was supposed to happen. I'll read that one more time. Chinese belief says a tiny bit of blood loss will void a bigger blood loss that was supposed to happen. So I didn't tell her the whole situation. But what I know is every time I'm in a negative thought loop process, those are the only times I get hurt. And because we're in this season where these things are coming up that we, haven't quite dealt with or we've forgotten to deal with, as I was cutting the bread, I don't know what to call them. I used to call them half-sisters, but now I have no words there's no relationship. Estranged times a million. And they popped into my head. And, rather than being like, here's something I gotta work through and let go, I latched onto it. And it spun me into this negative spiral. I understand everything where they came from. I do. And, I was always so excited to have sisters. They were always like, oh, you and your brother. I'm like, don't forget, I have 2 more sisters. Yeah, there's just still a bit of healing for myself to do. Because I remember our last interaction, I told them, because I understand where they came from. But when circumstances changed and when effort and things were trying to be made, they weren't being authentic. They were smiling and behind the door being like blah 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 blah, like not ever having goodwill towards people in my family that I care about. I don't care about any of that stuff. I've let all of that go. What really affects me is how, because they wouldn't ever deal or speak up or be authentic, an old man suffered. And I, as a caregiver to the elderly, I am not okay with that. I am not okay for somebody getting the brunt of the stick and their health degrading so fast to what it turned into when they could have helped. They were so close, they could have been there. They were in that field for career and they could have helped, but they didn't, and they didn't want to. And so if they truly knew the story, I don't think they'd be putting it on Facebook for sympathy for them. And that's what breaks my heart. It truly does. And so I have healing to do with that, because I'm so mad for my grandpa. And yes, we could have done more, but I was 6 provinces away. That's pretty far. And it's very expensive. So this is what the knife has taught me. Because when they finally did remove their false mask, I'm a person that always speaks up. I spoke up on it. I spoke up on the post. And then everything finally came out. So I have no regrets for ever standing up for my beliefs and my family. But as my friend said, Chinese belief says a tiny bit of blood loss will void a bigger blood loss that was supposed to happen. I was thinking of people who shared my blood when I cut myself. What's the really weird thing, right? When I came back home later after everything was solved and settled, I actually went to go look at the bandages or the wrappings and stuff. And there just was not much blood at all. I don't know how no blood, like it should have been a massacre. And it was like 5 drops of blood that came out. So, I'm going to read this one more time. Chinese belief says a tiny bit of blood loss will void a bigger blood loss that was supposed to happen. I remember sitting with my grandma, different style family, because grandmas are the glue, right? Grandmas hold the families together. And I remember always, like, right, she'd always take me to people's houses, and I told her, I'm like, I don't like these people. I don't consider them family. And she cried. She did, because that was all she ever tried to do, was bring 2 broken families together. And I never felt like they were my family. I told her, I said, Baba, I appreciate everything you do, and I will, I'll always be nice. But I create my own family. I'm gonna have my own family, and I call in my soul tribe. Those are my family. And then the friends I meet along my path who come with me, that's my family. That's my soul family. Just because you're blood doesn't mean that you owe loyalty to someone. If they don't have your back and they don't even have goodwill to you, you're allowed to let them go. You're not meant to be somebody's venting bag. You're not meant to be carrying all the burdens. You're not meant to have people just wishing that you don't succeed. And so that's what those people I was thinking of were to me. They didn't like me because I was born. And I can't help it that things didn't work out with their parents. I can't help that. So you can talk, you can try and mend things, but sometimes people don't want you to mend things. Sometimes they really like the narrative that they play in their head because they need you to be the villain in their story or something, right? It makes them feel better about how they feel, and it has nothing to do with you. But when it comes to family, Longtime friends, just because you grew up in the same neighborhood doesn't mean you know them 20 years that you owe loyalty to anyone. That's just what they keep showing me, is you do not owe loyalty to family, friends, groups that you're associated to. You don't owe loyalty to anyone. You owe loyalty to yourself, to follow your highest truth and to connect to the divine and follow whatever path is meant for you. The right people will step in and they'll be there. Like my friend, who in this moment of panic, as I'm going down this negative spiral, I have this emotions coming up of these people who, if I could have my way, I'd never have to deal with them again. But that's not life. It exists. You have to deal with it. And so for her to say the perfect thing that I needed to hear, I've been reminiscing over this for 4 days. And it's just, I felt so, I've let other people go who, think that just because they've known me really long times but never put effort in. I'm sorry guys, but I'm here having a 3D experience, and I rebuke any past life contracts or, I'm here to create change and this new path, and I'm here to create a new world. And I can't create a new world when I'm stuck in loyalty to people who just aren't filling up your cup. And so that's the message I really want to share with everyone. If someone drains you, if someone doesn't give back equally, you do not owe loyalty to anything, not a job, not anything. You're allowed to stand up for yourself. You're allowed to walk alone, because sometimes being on your own, you get to fill up your own cup. That's actually the process. You have to fill up your cup first before you could ever go and share with anyone else. You can't give to another unless you are full and present in yourself. So this cut was a blessing. I can't believe it didn't bleed much. It's deep. And I can't believe that in 4 days how much it's healed. I'm just boggled by this whole process. But you don't need cards for lessons to connect with divine. They're teaching you through every single action of your every moment of your every day. You are always being divinely guided, and you're being protected, and you are also being pushed to grow and evolve. And so it's just that simple. We have freedom to choose whatever direction we go to. And if somebody is not on your side, holding you back, something, you are allowed to let them go. They keep telling me that it's really hard for some people. And they tell me they want to talk about, what if it's your mom or dad who is the one who is not, what if you have to let them go? Because in all the commandments and things are always like, honor them. And you can. You definitely can love them, but they don't need to be apart. They don't. I wish them well. I wish them healing. But I don't need to know what happens to them after that. I hope they go and heal so that they don't go and bleed all over others and have to work through this through generations and generations. Face the scary fears. If you have thoughts that are coming up in bubbles, there's still a bit of healing to do with that. There is. And even when you think that you've done it, it might come up again. You've probably healed and let go of that so much, but the whole key is don't attach. Don't attach to it, and don't. I write letters to people. I'm like, I wish I said this. No. Maybe you could tell Spirit, this is how I'm feeling, and this is what I wished from the situation, and this is what I'm struggling with. Write the letter to them. You don't need to engage with them. They're gone. They're in the past. It said, a little bit of blood loss will avoid a bigger blood loss. Imagine if they were still here and they still had that sneaky mask on, and every single time they commented on a post, it was always a backhand or a knife in the back, or like all of those would have added up to so much loss. And so a little bit, this lesson now, healers are going to heal. That's all I can say. And I wish healing for everyone, because everyone can be a healer if you want to be. Your body naturally is built to heal. And healers are going to heal. All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. If thought processes come up, remember, don't attach to it, but know that there is still something to learn and grow in that. Be very present in your moments when you are doing something. You can do something, even if it's a high vibration and you're like mindful or not mindful, you could miss out on so much. But if you're in a negative thought process, don't do stuff. Don't do stuff. I promise. Just stop and go check yourself before you wreck yourself. Could have lost 2 fingers. Who knew? Well, I don't think I would have lost them, but it's just crazy. Woo. Okay. Be gentle with yourself. If you're having a negative day and negative thoughts, take time to just breathe. Let it come, let it teach you what you need, and then get back to present. Don't spend too much time there, but there is something coming up. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.